Thing you could do is trap him when he come past half court. There's nothing you could do when Trae Young gets hot.
I think you start screaming at him, just screaming incoherently right in his face and see what happens.
It could work. There's worse strategies to try. I'm all for it, Zach Lowe. Welcome to The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols, joined indeed by our 2008 NBA champ, Kendrick Perkins, and our senior writer, host of the Low Post podcast, Zach Lowe. Guys, coming up, Joel Embiid dropped 42, got to the free throw line 21 times in a win over the Celtics last night. But you're going to want to hear what Marcus Smart had to say about that after the game and Embiid's response. There's some good stuff in there. First, though, when the Cavaliers traded away Kyrie Irving a little more than 3 years ago, they did not exactly secure a bonanza in return. Forget what, say, Oklahoma City got for trading away Paul George. In fact, forget what Oklahoma City got for trading away Russell Westbrook to Houston. The Cavs got two players who aren't in the league anymore, plus Jay Crowder, who now plays in Phoenix, and the rights to a single draft pick, what would end up being the number 8 slot in 2018. LeBron would later say the Kyrie trade also cost Cleveland, well, him. That as soon as that deal was made, it was, quote, the beginning of the end for everything. All of which is to say, that is a lot of pressure to put on the player who would become that number 8 pick, Colin Sexton. And for large stretches of the past couple seasons, Sexton has looked, well, much like you would expect. A promising kid who was allergic to passing on a rebuilding team with a revolving door of teammates and coaches. J.B. Bickerstaff is, in fact, Sexton's 4th coach in 3 seasons, which is crazy. And honestly, until last night, there were plenty of casual NBA fans who, if they knew Sexton existed at all, it was because of the nickname that's been given to the Cavs backcourt. Oh, yes, it's Zach Lowe's favorite NBA phrase right now, Sexland.
Sexland.
Boom. You know, Colin Sexton, teammate Darius Garland, Sexland. Get it? Zach does. Anyway, while the Cavs have already made remarkable strides under Bickerstaff, it certainly would have been understandable for anyone looking at last night's schedule to see Nets Cavs on the docket and think Cleveland was going to serve as little more than a speed bump for the 1,000 horsepower monster that is Brooklyn's new Big Three. This was Kyrie's first game playing alongside Kevin Durant and James Harden, and also Kyrie's only his second time back in Cleveland since the Cavaliers traded him. In fact, Kyrie's return was a big enough deal, the Cavs played a tribute video for him, to which Kai responded by smiling at the fans, showing off his ring finger. Bottom line, everything was set up for a coronation, and it sure looked like one when the Nets stormed out of the gate, knocking down 10 straight shots to open the game, including that beauty. Kyrie does, well, that. Defensively for the Nets, though, yeah, not so much. The Cavs had come into the game with the NBA's worst offensive rating, yet against Brooklyn, they shot 50% from 3, scored 64 points in the paint. They had 7 players in double figures as the game pushed into double overtime. And Sexton in particular was a monster, finishing with 42. There was a stretch of 1 minute and 30 seconds of game time in which he'd score 11 all on his own, taking and making 3 contested 3-pointers. Sexton would finish with 15 points in the second overtime, pushing the Cavs to the win and sending the Nets into some post-game introspection.
We had breakdowns all over the place, so we got a lot of work to do. I think we know that. We know that, we have a very offensive team right now. So we have to find ways to defend, to get connected, to be on the same page, and that's going to take some time.
It's learning from your mistakes, learning from the losses, and not making the same mistakes 2 times in a row. So, we got a long way to go, but I think we're in the right direction, and we got some film to watch. And defensively, we got to be a lot better. And offensively, I think we still had 135 points. So, just correct some things on our switching and our defensive principles.
I do think the Nets can correct some things and figure it out, and this game can be a building block for them. But it was also a building block for Cleveland, who would welcome a return to even the bottom of the East playoff bracket after what's been happening there the past few seasons. And for Sexton, whose career started in the nearly impossible position of having to balance out a trade that sent out Kyrie Irving and chased away LeBron James, it was a chance to make more of his own mark, a lights-out performance on a national stage. And for one night, that was enough. So, Perk, we look at the Big Three for the Nets. I just talked about what happened with them defensively. Now, offensively, they combined for 96 points. Were you encouraged or discouraged from what you saw from the Nets' big three, Perk?
Well, I was discouraged, Rachel. And look, you remember on social media when James Harden gave Lil Baby 100 honey buns? Well, guess what? Colin Sexton gave them 42 honey buns last night, and everybody else in the league been giving them honey buns. Listen, offensively, they'll figure things out. Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni, they're offensive-minded coaches. I get that. But defensively, they have zero excuses. This is not a young ball club. This is a veteran team. You got two champions on there, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So with that being said, these guys should know how to come together collectively and figure things out. It's all about effort. It's not about schemes. And last night, what I was watching was they was just saying, you know what? We're going to outscore you. That's how we're going to beat you. And Rachel, you and Zach both know that in order to win a championship, you have to be at the top of the charts on the defensive end. Even when the Golden State Warriors was making their runs, yes, they were great offensively, but guess what? They were top 5 in every defensive category in the NBA. Defense win championships, and that's what the Nets are trying to do, and right now they're not showcasing it.
Well, the Nets learned an important lesson last night that the rest of the league should take note of. You think you're just going to walk into Sexland with all your star players and your new big three and walk out of Sexland with a W? You don't walk in and walk out of Sexland unscathed. Let's put it that way. As far as the Nets, I'm neither encouraged or discouraged. I'm just couraged. This is exactly what we should have expected. They're going to be one of the greatest offensive teams in the history of the NBA. And defensively, they're going to have a long way to go. It's the first game. Everybody chill. Let's see what kind of defense they can build. But Perk is right. I don't care how good they are offensively. I mean, I care, but they're going to be really good. You need to at least approach the top 10 in defense if you want to win the championship. You got to be 12th, 13th, 10th. You can't win the championship with an awful defense. I don't care how good your offense is. So they've got a long way to go in that regard, but we knew that. The one thing I am a little alarmed about, and I'll still defer to the Nets sports science team and all that, I'm shocked at how many minutes Kevin Durant is playing coming off an Achilles tear. Now, maybe his layoff was so long that this is not apples to oranges with other Achilles tears, but 50 minutes, he's up over 35 per game. They're really pushing him hard, and I'm actually a little surprised by that.
Yeah, it's tough, too, because we see those compensation injuries sometime. I'm not a doctor, as we always say here, but I'm watching John Wall be out for a spell here now, right, with a knee injury. And you wonder if that's anything to do with compensating for recovering from the Achilles. We don't know with Kevin Durant how much that comes into play. Zach, I want to just give you like 20 seconds on national TV. What appeal would you like to make to the Cleveland Cavaliers about your favorite nickname?
I mean, it's natural. It's right there. There's nothing obscene about it. It's Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. I'm told they don't really like it, which kind of disappoints me. It's catchy. The Cavs have to. No one's been watching Cleveland since LeBron left. We got to give people a reason to watch.
Amazing. All right, guys, let's move on to the Sixers. Who knew we were going to start the jump with that today? Joel Embiid, let's talk about him, dropping 42 points in the Sixers win over the Celtics last night. This was a fun game to watch. He shot 21 free throws himself compared to 20 for the Celtics as a team. You know who wasn't happy about it? Marcus Smart. Listen to the two of them after the game.
You know, we got our hands up a lot of the times, and, you know, he flails and he gets the call. And then down on the other end, you know, we got our guys attacking the rim, getting a lot of contact, and we're just not getting the whistle. It's tough to play like that, and it's tough. I mean, if the roles are reversed, I do it every time. I mean, I'll be on too. If every time I threw my arms up or every time I got touched, I'm going to the free throw line. I mean, it's kind of hard not to get into a rhythm that way when you shoot 21 free throws alone, and they allow you to hack on the other end.
Marcus Smart just told me that I flail a lot. Come on. I mean, I'm sure he knows himself and he knows his game too. You know, he does a lot of that. And I don't think I do. You know, the game is physical. Other teams tend to try to be extra physical against me. And I guess I'm just smarter than everybody else. I just take advantage of it.
Marcus Smart and Joel Embiid arguing about flopping, Perk. Which side are you on?
Look, first of all, Rachel, I love it. I love it. No more of this buddy ball. Listen, go at each other. I love the beef. I will be tuned in tomorrow to watch the 76ers versus the Celtics. That's number one. But I'm on Joel Embiid's side right now because he's been playing phenomenal. But the start of the game, he established himself in the paint. He established himself. He was dominant in the paint. And look, a lot of those calls were fouls. They were fouls. He did a great job of mixing it up from shooting his 1-2 dribble pull-ups, stretching the floor, shooting the three. And then when the times got tough, he went down to the low block and he got to the free throw line. Look, Marcus Smart, I get it, right? We all flop. We know you're a flopper. You're my boy. But Joel was not flopping last night. He was just imposing his will. That's it.
I agree with Perk in this sense. Philly, Boston, one of the great rivalries in sports. Marcus Smart and Joel Embiid, this is not the first time they've gone at it verbally or physically. I love this. I love when these two teams are both good. I love it when they hate each other. As far as whose side I'm on the side of the basketball gods, and the basketball gods are on the side of justice. They don't like flopping or flailing or any of this, and they look down on this kind of behavior. Now, look, Marcus Smart can say what he wants. I remember a game against Houston where he drew 2 straight offensive fouls on James Harden on out-of-bounds plays, baselines out-of-bounds plays. Marcus Smart is familiar with the dark arts, just like Joel Embiid is familiar with the dark arts. But the basketball gods are watching. Be careful.
They are watching, just like the bobbleheads over your shoulder.
Rachel, this is how we know that Zach Lowe been playing basketball at LA Fitness. What do you know about the basketball guards? That's a locker room talk right there. I knew you was hooping on the low, Zach.
I got a little bit.
Amazing. All right, guys, coming up, we're going to be talking about Colin Sexton's block on Kevin Durant last night. Woo! We put together the best little man blocks of all time. Muggsy Bogues is featured. You got to stick around for this one. First, though, here's a distant replay from this date in 90.
So I don't know, what am I make or missing? It's a make or miss league. Cut that.
Oh boy, make handles. Sixers Celtics. Jaylen Brown gets Ben Simmons on an island and makes him pay. Perk, how many moves do you count here?
About 6. Look, Rachel, right there. He wasn't just in his bag. He bought a carry-on and threw some luggage in on that play. Jaylen Brown has been playing phenomenal right now.
Jalen's got some snazzy footwork. Keep an eye on him. He's got a little snazzy footwork going on.
He had a fantastic season so far. Who needs the bubble? Who needs practice? Jaylen Brown can do it all. Miss Logic. Mavs Pacers. Indy bringing the double team, and Luka finds KP. Bad idea to double Luka Doncic stack?
Well, the thing about guys like Luka Doncic is there is no answer. Whatever answer you have, they have an answer for that. So you can double him, you cannot double him. He's going to do something that hurts you, but that's a Magic Johnson pass. That's a thing of beauty.
Well, I know one thing, it's going to be on film session for the defensive part of the game because you can't just do your own thing and go double Luka like that. But did you see the accuracy, on time, on target? Lord have mercy.
It's almost like he's really good at everything all the time. Miss Logic. Right. Spurs, Dubs, Kent Bazemore. This is from the corner, but Kelly Oubre right there to clean it up. He didn't blow a kiss this time. But how do you feel Kelly decides when and when not to blow kisses? Because I like it when he blows the kisses. I like the flair.
I actually like it when he blows the kisses, too. I just be wondering who he's blowing the kisses at. Like the last time he got a tick for it, I think it's part of the game. Yeah. It's his swagger. Let it go. I love it. He's an instigator. I like it.
I love Kelly Oubre. He's totally fearless. He doesn't care who he taunts. I like when he falls over and when he gets fouled and he does push-ups before he gets up. He's got something for every scenario that happens in an NBA game. He's got a taunt or something.
It's fantastic. We all need more Kelly Oubre in our lives, and he's just throwing love at the world, Perk. That's just for the world. Miss Experience, Magic Wolves. Wolves missing the free throw. Now, rookie Cole Anthony ending up with it. Hits the 3 here at the buzzer for the 1-point win. Zach, he was taking 15th, but you know who his daddy is. Do you think the Magic got a steal there?
I mean, we'll see. He's got a crafty little off-the-dribble game. He keeps people off balance. And just when you think the Minnesota Timberwolves have hit rock bottom, they dig just a little deeper. Oh, is that a painful loss?
You know what? I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Cole Anthony because in college he got a lot of backlash because he wasn't performing well. But guess what? Every college player don't turn out to be a good NBA player, but the NBA fits him. He's a good NBA player, and he's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, it's fun seeing him adjust like that. All right, make anticipation. Second quarter, Nets, Cavs, Colin Sexton, one-on-one with KD in the open court, and woo, able to pick up that block.
Give me that.
Right? Considering what a great night Colin had overall, was this still one of his top plays of the night for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this guy is relentless. He have that KG mindset. He don't care who's in front of him. He is a little bull. They gave him the right nickname. I love that he went up and challenged that. You can see how he was gathering his steps. He was going up regardless if he was getting dunked on or not.
I love the way Colin Sexton carries himself on the floor. He plays like he thinks he's the best player on the floor all the time. He fears nobody. He's tough as hell. I love his demeanor, and I do think it rubs off on the rest of his teammates.
Absolutely. Great night for him in Cleveland. Those two teams match up again tomorrow. All right, time to run it back to the best little man blocks ever. Number 5, 2013, Nate Robb on LeBron.
Oh!
This is just the Nate Robinson highlight list. That's what this really is. It's just our excuse to give Nate Robinson highlights. They're all Nate Robinson.
And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Zach Lowe? This one actually...
Nothing.
Eric Bledsoe meeting Dwayne Wade at the rim, 2012. Boom.
Ooh. Eric Bledsoe is so underrated at shot blocking. People don't give him enough credit. He's been doing that for a while now.
I like how he's kind of hanging on the net on the way down. 2010, Nate Robb again. Okay, fine, Zach. But this time it's on Shaq. It's on Shaq.
On Shaq? No, it's amazing. He's a little guy. He's blocking all the big guys. Everybody loves David versus Goliath.
93.
That's what I'm saying, Zach.
Our other little David, Muggsy Bogues on Patrick
Zach trying to block
Ewing.
my shot.
Look at this one.
Oh, Patrick.
Look at this. You got to time that perfectly.
It's always special. It's always special when a little guy goes to get a big guy shot.
And
it's always a good thing to see.
Was Bodmer's favorite Nate Robb. Oh, yes, 2006 on Yao Ming.
Yeah.
That is a poster, friends.
Yes. Give me that.
That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he got him in the eye.
That is crazy.
For sure, Nate Robb got that poster up in his children's room. I know that for a fact.
He deserves it. He deserves it. All right, guys, coming up next, I will ask Perk and Zach if the Clippers' 5-game winning streak is something, nothing, or the app. Welcome back to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols, joined by Kendrick Perkins, Zach Lowe, and guys, it's time to play one of our favorite games, Something, Nothing, or Everything. Let's start with the Clippers, who are rolling after beating the Kings last night. Clips have won a season-high 5 straight games. At 11-4, they are now tied with the Lakers for the league's best record. So, Perk, is the Clippers' 5-game winning streak something, nothing, or everything?
Oh, it's everything. And here's why. Not only are they on a 5-game winning streak, but they're at the top of the Western Conference. They're number 1 right now. And look, I got a phone call from Ty Lue saying, Big Perk, when I'm going to get some love, when we go get some love. Well, guess what? You're getting it today. Y'all playing phenomenal basketball. Paul George is playing at an MVP type level. Kawhi is being Kawhi. We know what he's capable of doing. But all the other role players are buying into the system. They're playing the gender-free basketball. And the Clippers should be in the Western Conference this year against the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's everything, Rachel. You good, T. Lou?
It's something. Ooh. It's definitely something, but it's not everything. It can't be nothing with the Clippers. They can't score on everything in this game until they get punched in the face in the playoffs. And we see how they react. But this is something, Perk is right, they are rolling. They're making shots from everywhere. Their offense is tied with the Bucks almost for number 1 in the league. Their rotations are starting to make sense. They've got lineups they like. They're staggering Paul and Kawhi in ways that make sense. You can see a team coming together. You can see an identity forming. The hierarchy on offense is a little different this year in a way that, again, I think makes sense. Ty Lue's doing a great job. So it's something, but I can't go further than something.
It's funny. I think it's everything, but kind of for the same reason as you, Zach, because they are in such a prove-it year. It's not just Ty Lue, Perk, that I know a lot of Clippers fans feel like every time their team is under the microscope, it's not fair. Why can't you just concentrate on us winning? You are under the microscope because you had elite expectations last year, because even your head coach at the time said just making the conference finals isn't good enough for us. That's not what our goal is. And you didn't even make the conference finals after giving up a 3-1 lead in a series. So everything is going to be prove-it. Everything is under the microscope. And therefore, to me, this is everything because they have put together such a good stretch. Their passing has been phenomenal, and they are shooting lights out. So every step of the way, I am looking at, and I'm giving them the everything for this. I want to move over to the Suns, guys, because we got to get to former number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton, as producer Danny would say, bear down. He had a monster game last night, 26 points. We are surrounded by Arizona people on the show. 26 points, 17 rebounds, 5 blocks in the Suns' win over the Rockets. He was the first Suns player to hit all those marks in a game since our recent guest here on The Jump, Sean Marion, the Matrix, back in 2007. So, Zach, is Ayton's big game something, nothing, or everything?
It's definitely something, because you could see for a team that's off to a good start, Phoenix's starting 5, either version, the Jay Crowder version or the Cam Johnson version, just hasn't clicked. And one of the reasons this hasn't clicked is you can see DeAndre Ayton trying to find his way. What's my role? What should I do? How many shots should I take? His usage is down. He's settling for way too many fadeaways from the post. He doesn't get to the foul line. But that DeAndre Ayton, the one that asserts his place in that starting 5 and rampages to the rim and gets to the line, that guy makes the Phoenix Suns a really interesting team. And look, it's just going to take time. They have a lot of new pieces. Chris Paul changes your identity as a team for the better, but it just takes time. And you can see Chris and Devin Booker trying to feel out how to play off of each other instead of just play your turn, my turn basketball. And DeAndre Ayton's been kind of a victim in that process until last night. So it's definitely something.
I can't believe you, Zach. So you just called out all those points and named out all those points, and he had a monster game and dominated, and you just said it's something. It's everything. He's the X factor. Look, we know what we're going to get out of Chris Paul. You know what you're going to get out of Devin Booker. Now we need to know what we're going to get out of DeAndre Ayton. I'm sorry. But he has to come along and play dominant. He has to be a force like he did last night for Phoenix to even have a chance of making any type of noise this postseason, and he's doing just that. It is the CP3 effect. This is the same effect that he had on DeAndre Jordan when he was with the Clippers. CP3 brings out that killer instinct, and that's what DeAndre Ayton needs.
Yeah. You guys are like the softy teachers giving out A+, A+, A+. Not everything can be everything. I'm a little more judicious with my everythings.
Well, Zach is the only former teacher on this panel.
Rachel, it's okay. When we trying to explain to Zach, it's okay to give people flowers, Zach. It don't have to just be all the time. It's just something.
Something is
not
nice.
Too much. That's not
something is good. It's not nothing.
But everything changes the whole narrative. It moves the needle. It is everything the way that he performed last night. Okay.
Perk's giving out roses. Perk's giving out roses. Zach's giving out daisies. That's just how it is right now. Guys, I want to move on to a more serious topic. The NBA announcing today the Grizzlies. They have postponed their next 3 games due to, quote, unavailable players on the roster, along with contact tracing for other players. Now, according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, this is part of an evolution in the league's handling of COVID scenarios. They essentially plan to park a team and take them out of circulation once a roster has been exposed to the virus. The idea being it will reduce risk for their opponents by doing so. And that brings us to the Wizards, because they have been the team dealing with the most COVID issues so far this season. They were slated to face the Bucks tomorrow after having 5 straight games postponed, and it quickly became Listen to what Bradley Beal said in his media availability yesterday. Take a listen.
I have the luxury of having a basketball gym and weight room in my house, so I'm able to get work in, but not everybody has that luxury. A lot of my teammates don't have that luxury. We weren't able to get in the gym for a week. That alters guys' rhythm, shape, like that's just like a recipe for injury, honestly. I think we're fighting the league on it, but, if we got to go out and compete, we're always going to do that no matter who we have.
So, Zach, I thought this was really interesting. I was actually on the Zoom, because that's how we do things now, for Bradley Beal's media availability last night, and he was very passionate. He just did not feel that they should be playing that next game, open them up to injury, certainly a team that has dealt with a ton of injury. And, in fact, he talked about contacting the union, and, in fact, just a couple hours later, the league came through for them and said, you know what, we get it. We're going to let you postpone that game as well. So, Zach, what's your reaction to the NBA doing that for the Wizards, and then obviously taking this different tack now with Memphis?
Well, look, Brad is right. And the recipe for injury thing is, I think, been an underplayed storyline, not only in teams ramping up after a long layoff, but the teams that we've seen have to play with 8 players and everyone's got to play 45 minutes just to get through the game. But look, the league is evolving. We're trying to play during a pandemic. This has never happened before. And the Wizards are not the first team to be sort of stricken by this and have situations foisted onto them that are not fair. And I think by the time we get to the end of the season, half the league is going to have had stretches like this where they feel like they're behind the 8 ball, they're being forced to play at a disadvantage or not play for a long time, and that gives them a disadvantage. This is just the reality of this season. It's a reality that the players' union signed off on. It's a reality that the league signed off on. And I think it's important to note the league had 16 positive cases last week. 11 came back in this round of testing. So the positives went down. We haven't had a huge giant pile of positive cases. It's the contact tracing that is taking teams out of circulation more than anything else. And I don't know what the league is supposed to do about that. They're erring on the side of extreme caution. And I do think that's the right answer. It's just making for a very wonky, inconvenient, and maybe risky to injury season. I just don't really know what the other answer is, except just don't have a season or pause it. And if we have too many teams like this, we may have to pause it.
Yeah, and that's what they don't want to happen. I mean, we are dealing with a pandemic, and Zach, you was right all across the board, and Bradley Beal is right also, Rachel. Like, these guys gotta have time to practice, because this is how you pull a hamstring, or this is how you strain your calf, things to that nature. Those soft tissue injuries from being away from the game, not being able to practice and go and play at a high level. But I understand what the NBA is doing, and I love the way that Adam Silver and the Players Association is coming together once again to collab and make sure that everyone is comfortable and meeting in the middle. And I'm glad that they heard Bradley Beal and granted the Washington Wizards their wish. This is how you get things done. It's not going to be done one-sided. It's going to be done collectively, and job well done by both of them. Yeah. Look, it's a different circumstance, so you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the NBA listening to its player there, and they're trying to get through the season, as Zach said. All right, guys, coming up, the Lakers and Bucks meet up tonight with both teams coming off tough losses. So who needs to win tonight's game more? We will discuss. First, though, here is Karis LeVert. This was really cool to hear. This was on how getting traded to the Pacers was a blessing in disguise for his health.
Yeah, so I didn't have any symptoms. Obviously, as you all know, I was playing in games. I hadn't missed any games this season yet. I was feeling 100% healthy. So, in a way, this trade definitely, showed and revealed, what was going on in my body. So I'm definitely looking at it, from that side, and definitely humbled to know that, this trade could have possibly, saved me in the long run.
Saturday night on ESPN Plus. There's more UFC. There's always more UFC. That's a look at Friday and Saturday's big lineup.
The 2020 most valuable player is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Piss me off. That's my true answer.
I just want to be a legend. When they talk about the greats, know that I'm going to get a mention.
Exceptional talent. He's gotten better every single year that he's been in the league.
Great drink flush!
Whenever you go against him, you can feel greatness.
LBJ!
Always I've said in the past, that's what I want to be.
I just want to be a legend.
Really good matchup going on tonight on TNT. Lakers and Bucks in Milwaukee. Now LA coming in at 11-4. Bucks coming in at 9-5. They're both coming off losses, as we mentioned. So, Perk, does tonight's game mean more to the Lakers or to the Bucks?
Well, it means more to the Bucks. Is definitely not the Lakers, Rachel. Look, the Lakers don't have nothing to prove. They are the defending champs. Now, the Bucks, on the other hand, they have everything to prove. They have a new big three, adding Drew Holiday, and I hope it be a close game, a possession by possession in the fourth quarter, because I'm ready to see the MVP take control of the game late in the fourth quarter and not just stand in the corners. So this is everything for the Bucks. This game means more for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I mean, yeah, obviously, Perk is right. I mean, the Lakers just won the championship, had a couple months off. They're in cruise control. The Bucks are under enormous pressure to win. I think Perk, something interesting happened in that Bucks-Nets game the other night. The Bucks used Giannis more like Shaq and Anthony Davis down the stretch of that game. He was setting a ton of screens for Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. And I wonder if we see that become a much bigger part of their late game offense. But I will say, as tempting it is to say it's Bucks, the Lakers are really a brand new team. They have a lot of moving parts, a lot of new parts around LeBron and AD. And I would like to see them get up for this game. Say, okay, let's see what we can do against a really elite team, a team that thinks they're on our level. So I do think the Lakers, with all the new pieces they have, do have a little something to prove against the best competition. So it is the Bucks, but it's not a total landslide.
Well, Zach, I heard you on a recent podcast. Go ahead, Perk.
Well, Rachel, I just want to address Zach real quick, like the numbers on the house, okay? Listen, please do not ever disrespect the great Shaquille O'Neal or Anthony Davis like that, because you could go to both of them down the stretch late in the fourth quarter if you want a bucket. You can't do that for Giannis. So come on, Zach, you was on the roll when you started agreeing with me, then you threw me off towards the end, all right? My bad, Rachel.
He floats like a butterfly. No, I just wanted to ask Zach something else, the Perk I know you're very interested in. Zach, I heard you on a recent podcast talking about who Giannis was guarding at the end of the game, and I know that is one of Perk's favorite topics. So, Zach, why don't you go first, and I will let Perk bring that home.
Well, I watched that whole Bucks-Nets, flashball game. Everybody wants to see it. And I don't see Giannis guard Kevin Durant at all. Kevin Durant is doing crazy damage all over the floor. Giannis is over there on Jeff Green. And I get the point of it. Giannis can help more. He's in the corner, so he's closer to the rim. At some point, at some time, if the Bucks want to win the championship, they are going to get into a playoff series where Giannis is going to have to guard Kevin Durant or LeBron or Kawhi or Jason Tatum or on and on. And I would just like to see them dip this guy's the defensive player of the year. Let him guard Kevin Durant for 20 possessions just to see what happens. I want to see it. They're going to need to do it at some point.
Yeah, but Zach, look, you can't say let him guard him. Look, Giannis is the defensive player of the year, and he's the MVP winner from last season. All he has to do is go in the huddle and say, you know what? I got him. I watched Kevin Garnett do it.
Fair.
I watched Kevin Durant do it. I watched LeBron James do it. Look, this is the problem I have right now, Zach. And yes, I'm beefing with you today. I don't know why you still my friend. But the problem I have with you is that when we were on the jump last year, you argued me down about why you was, basically riding with Giannis for Defensive Player of the Year. And I told you then, Giannis do not guard anyone. All he does is act like a free safety and want to protect the basket. No, I want to see you sit down and actually take pride and go guard the best player for once in a while. Don't just put Drew Holiday on Kevin Durant and say, I'm going to be a helper.
Or Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton was guarding him for most of that game. And you're right, Perk. It's not just on Mike Budenholzer. I mean, Giannis is the MVP. When you're of that stature, when your stature is such that your organization just a few months ago turned everything upside down just to get your signature on a piece of paper, you can go up to the coach and say, I got him. And we just haven't seen that. And it's becoming strange. We've been talking about this since the conference finals 2 years ago when he didn't guard Kawhi Leonard all. It's time to see a little bit of it, I think.
All right. Perk has gotten that out of his system. I know he feels better.
That's exactly. Yes. Rachel, that's the Zach Lowe I know right there.
There you go, guys. All right, up next, Kristaps Porzingis on fire last night, scoring 27 points. Is the unicorn back for good? We will discuss. First, though, time for our second distant replay of the day.